Hey, everybody, thanks for coming back. Today is January 1st, 2026. Born on this date in 1804, Billy Powell of what is now the Tallahassee area. As a child, he left for Florida with other Muskogee after the Creek War. There, he would become famous as Seminole leader and warrior Osceola. In 1965, current Congresswoman representing Alabama 7, Terry Sewell of Huntsville and later Selma. Today we have a rough flu season. It's already had some tragic effects and is being accompanied by cases of a superbug going around. We also have the end of the publication of a major Southern newspaper, and we have the Crimson Tide going after win number, well, we'll get to that. I'm Mike Morgan, and we're down in Alabama.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
It looks like some people in Alabama may start off the year already tapping into their sick time. First of all, the entire state is now designated by the CDC as having a high level of flu activity, reports AL.com's Megan Plotka. Now, this is not a surprise to anybody around January 1st. We saw a big spike a year ago, much the same way, and we're experiencing one now as well. But adding to the anxiety right now are the apparent flu-related deaths of an 11-year-old and a 14-year-old just over the past week. Now, if your kids start to show flu symptoms, health officials encourage you to get them to their doctor or an urgent care facility. Now, dial that up a bit and get them to an emergency room if their symptoms include difficulty breathing, bluish lips or skin, chest pain, unresponsiveness, seizures, or signs of severe dehydration. Now, on top of this flu season, the antibiotic-resistant Candida auris superbug is spreading across the nation and the state, reports AL.com's Savannah Trians-Fernandez. Candida auris is a yeast or fungus that leads to infections. Health officials say case counts have been increasing each year, and they received 158 Alabama reports of cases in 2025. The bug showed up in 2009. It survives on surfaces for months and is resistant to disinfectants. It can spread through personal contact, and infections can occur in multiple places throughout the body. The Alabama Crimson Tide football team will square off against top-ranked and undefeated Indiana. Man, that sounds weird. In today's 3 p.m. Rose Bowl college football playoff quarterfinal game. Now, enjoy the game. Meanwhile, though, you might hear a confusing stat being tossed around. To be clear, as AL.com's Craig Stevenson reports, the Tide is not playing for its 1,000th all-time victory. Now, here's what we think led to the confusion. Sports Reference is a great statistical website that conspires with ADHD to send me down some really twisting, winding rabbit holes. Well, for some reason, it lists Alabama games going back only to 1902. Now, as everybody knows, Alabama's been grinding it out on the gridiron since 1892. So while going back to 1902, you might count 999 wins. If you go back to 1892, you might find the Tide with 1,014 wins. However, according to Craig, that's probably a little too optimistic because that's not taking into account victories that Alabama had to vacate because of the textbook scandal you might remember around 20 years ago. Now, to wrap this all up, once you take the 999 that people have been throwing around, add the wins before 1902, and subtract more recent vacated wins, you get 985 wins heading into today's game. But hey, while 986 might not be a neat round number, I'm pretty sure Alabama fans will take it if they can get it. And the newspaper that covered Dixie like the dew, according to its previous masthead motto, ceased publishing its print newspaper editions at the end of 2025, which was yesterday. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution, along with former entities, the Atlanta Journal and the Atlanta Constitution newspapers, brought us names such as Furman Bisher, Mark Bradley, Cynthia Tucker, Louis Grizzard, Doug Marlette, Mike Lukovich, and Joel Chandler Harris, a reporter who would go on to create Uncle Remus. Before Margaret Mitchell wrote Gone with the Wind, by the way, she was writing profiles of Civil War figures for the Atlanta Journal. For many years, the paper was among the largest and most powerful in the South, with a circulation that once hovered above 600,000. Now, the AJC has reported that it's a digital-only news organization, just like the one I work for. Now, if you detect any mournfulness in this voice, then you're on to something. But just as when the Alabama newspapers that this podcast is affiliated with cut print publication, the sadness is over getting to hold a broadsheet newspaper, grabbing warm copies as they come off the press, smelling the ink, believe it or not, and developing workflows that many of us, forgive my lack of humility, were dang good at. That's just nostalgia, though. And this is business. Going all digital, we have learned, simply means it's time to get to work, just like we did every day in 1996. Now, anyone within the sound of my voice knows that doesn't mean they just put their stories on the internet. As with other news organizations, such as the Huntsville Times, the Birmingham News, and the Mobile Press Register, the AJC has been embracing multimedia methods of news delivery with video making, newsletter writing, social media storytelling, and even podcasting. If it wasn't, then somebody else would. Thank y'all so much for listening to us. And I hope your 2026 is off to a great start. We're going to be back here tomorrow on January 2nd. Until then, y'all come on by and see what we're working on the internet at al.com.